Hey, Nerdy Rodent has
Hello?
some input for us, a little bit of a quiz. Damn nerdy. Anyway,
We
oh, we
lost
lost.
Scott again.
Yeah, yeah. Calasia. I was wondering if that's Calasia. Probably not. Probably not Calasia. Anyway, so we're doing a little bit of Bernardo Kastrup, and well, there's one other thing. Okay, I named this the vivid shallowness of pink qualia. There's always this question of when I see pink, would it be the same as you seeing pink, Dave? What do you think?
I think it's interpretive. By, I think everybody sees things a little bit differently.
Yep, everybody thinks that, but I don't. Uh, I think that we experience pink in exactly the same way.
I guess
And
it
the
would. I
reason,
guess it would rely mostly on what would be the standard for the eyesight. I guess
well,
because if you have poor eyesight, or if you're semi-color blind or something like that.
those are the caveats. If somebody has different photoreceptors, then they're going to have a different set of spectrums. But
And I
my
think we can
idea,
all agree. I think we can all agree on what a pink is. Yes.
yeah, but I want to make this point that so what I came up with, and I haven't heard anybody else talk about this, so it's my own little weird interpretation. But we've got this color spectrum, right? Just all these different colors, and the we have a modality that allows us to do a whole lot of comparison between different colors, right? And so we got like we got like pink is right next to red, that sort of thing. And the reason that pink qualia and red qualia have the qualities that we build into them are partially because they're interconnected with our memories, our emotions, and our experience of color. So when Mary comes out of the black and white room, she probably wouldn't get hardly any quality out of her colors until she got used to for weeks and weeks and maybe months until her brain wired to make these qualitative assessments of different colors. And so I call that shallowness. So basically, the color pink, or the qualia of pink, is actually very shallow, even though it seems rich and vivid to us. So it's kind of a paradox. But we get our color vision from comparison of a number of different colors, and the same way we get our sharp vision from all these edge detectors, and we have this like enormous. There's like I think there's like 112 different nuclei that go into visual processing, and it all like goes off like into its separate corners. All the raw input goes into all these separate nuclei, and then they reassemble, and they come out and they turn into two different paths. One of them is concerned with movement, and that goes over the back, from the back of your head over the top of your head, and that's called the dorsal pathway. And the other one goes underneath, and that one is concerned with recognizing faces and objects and things like that. And in between, and I think on both pathways, there's all this color discrimination, where our mind will tend to put colors, even though we may not see them clearly with the edges. I understand people that have vision impaired and just started seeing that it looks like the coloring was outside of the lines for a while. So we kind of like add all that processing,
What
and
about
we end up with
what
this.
about what about optical illusions? How does that fit in? Because if you put certain colors next to other colors or in certain patterns, it
Yep.
totally screws up how your eyes see it. And you'll
Yeah, and
see
that's
like
it.
basically a different color, and somebody will say it's blue. It's like, no, it's actually red. It's just because it's next to, this
Yeah, and that,
shade of gray or whatever.
and some of that has to do with actual physical things in your eyes and in the early processing of your brain. And there are going to be subtle differences, like what is it, the blue and white dress or something that was on
Right.
the internet.
Yep.
There's these subtle differences where people will have certain discriminations. But when it comes to pink and red, something that we see a lot, at least in the modern world, and well, now if you went to the jungle and showed them pink and they didn't have any pink flowers there, they may end up with a different kind of qualia or a different level of qualia. But the thing I'm trying to say is that it is shallow. It's just a shallow basin. This qualia is shallow, and it has to do more with discrimination. And then we add all of these qualitative aspects, and that's sort of a an idea that I haven't heard talked about too much. I'm sure there's some neuroscience scientists out there that are working on that. Vision is something we really understand a lot. We know a lot about. So anyway, that's what the vivid shallowness of pink qualia is. And if it's shallow, that means that our past experiences with seeing different colors are probably pretty similar. You and I, Dave, we grew up in the United States with the same television, whatever, and we probably see the exact same. We have the exact same quality of pink because there is nothing more to it. It is so shallow. It doesn't have a thing in itself, basically, qualia. It's more discriminative than it is that we actually have some qualia inside of us. And that's the problem I have with idealists, is that they reify consciousness, they reify the mental, and they reify qualia. So anyway, yeah, pink is what they use in pink qualia in Taco Bell.
And we have to agree what pink is too.
Yeah.
Because you can,
Oh yeah, you got
that's where all the other colors come in, because it could be
right.
like a maroon, and people would see more purple than pink.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go with a new Crayola color. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a
And
lot of in betweens.
there's a little something that you sent me last night, and like at 12 o'clock, and I was up for like 3 hours because I heard
I
this.
know Scott was up too. We were all up, and it was like, I
Yeah.
watched like 3 videos last night of this.
Yeah.
A couple of them, he was talking about religious things and
Yeah. This one.
how great the Bible is and Adam and Eve story and everything. And I was like, again, it seems to creep in what we were talking about.
Yeah. He's kind of God centric in his ideas, even if he won't admit it because of his universal consciousness. But we'll get into a little bit of that. But this part right here is where he talks about neuroscience. I'll play this.
I think Roman went to the
sure.
There he is.
I'm back. Yeah. Is there a corresponding physical image of the process that maintains the structure of our memories?
They're asking
I think there
questions.
surely is a physical correlate for memory pathways, access pathways. We know that if you screw up with the thalamus, you can't access your memories. So something about the thalamus, or let me phrase it in a more accurate way. What we call the thalamus is part of the image of mental memory accessing. The pathways to access a certain memory content have an image. The thalamus is part of that image. There are
Okay, he doesn't know anything about the thalamus. If he were talking about the hippocampus, it might make a little difference, but he doesn't know shit about neuroscience. But anyway, he goes on.
other brain structures involved in that. There is some confusion in neuroscience because people, although there is awareness of this for the past 10 years or so, people still mix up memory access with reportability. These are different things. Reportability requires metacognition. It requires not only that you remember, but that you know that you remember. And some of the studies find physical correlates of memory that are in fact physical correlates of metacognition, back and forth communication between different brain areas. So it sort of makes the water less crystal clear, because we are still conceptually mixing up different things in neuroscience. Neuroscience is well known for conceptual confusion, by the way. It's one of our youngest sciences. It has not sorted out the basics yet.
And of course, I was up for 2 hours after I heard that. It's like neuroscience is probably one of our most mature sciences right now. And he says all we have is data. I think he goes on.
It's still in the stage of just cataloging data.
Cataloging data.
Incorrect.
Right. Yeah, sure.
They don't know anything.
Yeah. So like 30 years ago, we knew a hell of a lot about cognitive neuroscience. And today we know 30 years more. And the field has just blown up. Scott is bouncing in and out. I don't know. But I mean, we know a great deal, and no, I don't think any neuroscientist is going to mistake the cognitive or occurrent recall of a memory for where the memories actually rely, and they have a good understanding of how the memories are incorporated into neural networks. And we have an even better understanding now because we're getting into AI and we're starting to have something that is similar to that broad distributed bit of memory. And he makes a thing about planaria, and that's something I'd have to research more fully, but you cut up planaria in half and the two sides both grow with the same memory of how to do something, basically. And this is not surprising for a number of reasons, but he's like, oh, that means that memory isn't physical or it's stored somewhere else. I don't know what the hell he's saying, but anyway, that one.
AI, is this the same video where he talks about that AI is going to make AI is going to make AI?
I'm not sure what.
That in this video?
It might be. I'm not sure.
He was talking about even if AI makes AI, makes AI, makes AI, that keeps making this exponentially better AI, that it'll never be conscious because it's not connected somehow.
Right. Yeah. And that's a pretty deep subject about how you'd get an AI that would have a kind of consciousness that we would say, oh yeah, that's like us. Okay. In order to do that, you'd almost have to give the AI the same structure as our brain and a body just like ours, and put him in a world and raise him up for years and years in the same world in the same way we did. Then it would be conscious like us. But there are other kinds of conscious out there that we're going to encounter perhaps someday if we ever run into aliens. And we're going to have all kinds of attitudes about it. But anyway, that's a pretty deep discussion about.
And he totally dismisses other species having any consciousness too. He numerous times he says, like the cat isn't meta aware or whatever or something like that.
Oh, not metacognitive. But I think cats actually, cats and primates. I think
it could be simplistic though. They could have simplistic reasonings and thought processes.
Right. If you scare your cat is going to remember that, and that is part of metacognition. Your cat is going to have a sense of what is in its mind at that time, basically.
My wife showed me a cat that was problem solving with the rig they had set up so it couldn't get out of the room by jamming the door.
Yeah.
And it figured out how to undo it and open the door and get out. So that's kind of like the test they do with the birds, isn't it? Where they're showing some kind of understanding and problem solving, and that has to be at least some kind of simplistic awareness, right?
That requires basically a rudimentary form of metacognition. But metacognition would be like I can talk about what I was talking about a minute ago. I can record the language, or I can, and I can. I'm looking at a salt shaker now, and if I look away, I have a metacognitive idea of having looked at that salt shaker. Basically, I have a salt shaker. Here's a prop.
Where's your prop?
I don't know if I'm going to use it or not. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, he has a prop.
I do have a prop.
We may get to see it.
You may see. Well, you can see my prop. This is my prop.
There it is.
Okay. What I want to point out to you kids out there is, okay, you see what I did to my salt shaker? I had to drill bigger holes in it because you don't make salt shakers anymore that, pour enough salt out, right? So, like in a restaurant, I always have to unscrew the top in order to salt my food. Kids, make bigger holes in your salt shakers like I do, you see? That's the right size hole for... Anyway.
Now we know.
Yeah, now you know. Because without vitamin S, you're not going to survive. You're not going to survive.
If you can hear me, Jay has a very valid question.
Where's that? Jay, I think.
On the screen, I believe.
Oh, shit, I took it off. Where is it?
Yeah, you did. Thanks.
Sorry.
I think is Kastrup one of those guys that thinks everything is of the mind and maintained by a mind? Sort of, yes. That's what we're trying to decipher, exactly where the connection is between us, each other, and this other universal consciousness or mind.
Yeah, he thinks that at the fundamental level, everything is consciousness, which to me...
Oh, no, he said that he did say the sun is not.
The sun is not consciousness?
It's hard to track all the different things he said.
I'm still trying to figure out like I told you, I'm still stuck with the UFO thing, that the only reason there are UFOs is because we want to see UFOs, but yet the mind is determining what we see. So it's actually determining that we see UFOs, not us, but we're only seeing them because we want to see them. Is still very confusing on which way this mind connection actually goes.
Right. Is this the question, Scott?
Yeah, that's the question right there.
Okay.
On the screen.
Well, okay, Kastrup, he's an idealist, and he has something called, what is it, analytical idealism?
Analytical idealism.
Yep, and his idea is that, okay, there's one huge consciousness, one universal consciousness, and it's basically, it has mental stuff. I call them mentals. Some of his followers get pissed off when I call them mentals. But yeah, okay, there are elements in the universal consciousness, and the universal consciousness is the cosmos, basically. But it's all made out of mental, okay? Whatever in the hell that is. Not metal, but mental. And we are each, because of evolution, we became disassociated. We have a dissociative personality disorder where we have split-brained ourselves, and each of us have a little piece of consciousness that is part of that universal consciousness. And when we die, we go out into that universal consciousness, and we still have this basic subjective experience, but we can no longer do metacognition because he says very specifically that the universal consciousness cannot do metacognition. So the universal consciousness doesn't know that it's conscious. It's just conscious. So I don't know if that explains it, but...
Then how does it know that we're metaconscious?
I don't think it knows anything. Well, I don't know what the hell it knows. It knows enough about us to create us, right? Because we are its consciousness. We are its mental.
The cat, yeah, but then he's going to say the cat isn't in tune with any of it either.
I don't know.
How did the cat
there's
make
just one metaconsciousness
thinking decisions?
Yeah, how does he know there's only one? Yeah.
I mean,
the cat was purely instinct.
Assuming some sort of what do they call when it's that principle where you only have one part. It's a P word for. I think it's a P word for simple or as few as possible. But just because you're assuming just one doesn't really mean there's not more than one. So there's that. He's just making assertions, and if they sound good together, then he believes it. I don't know.
Just another brick in the wall, nerdy.
Oh, you mean?
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Aristotle or other forms that turned into like Gnosticism, where you have this whole hierarchy of forms that that take a meta to position you, and then eventually, like you have that one great God, perfect form or eon, and it all seems to boil down to some sort of Gnosticism, or I'll forget what Aristotle's system was called, but it's always it's like making a casserole. You're always, especially some sort of Italian casserole, it's always meat, cheese, and pasta of some sort.
Yeah, Jay. Anyway, hi, Trusty Ape. We can talk later. But anyway, Jay says similar to panpsychism, but Kastrup hates panpsychism kind of, because panpsychism sort of says that each little individual atom has its own little bit of consciousness. And Kastrup said, no. The atoms are consciousness. Like consciousness makes the atoms and all of that stuff. So, but I've got his ideas. First of all, as long as we're on this video, let's just hear this little bit he says about Christianity. I think it might be good for everybody to hear, but let's try this.
What comes closest to me intellectually, but what comes closest to me emotionally.
He's talking about which religion he would choose.
Are the maps of meaning I was given when I was a child, before I was able to filter things out arbitrarily because of conceptual narratives. So they are the ones that rooted themselves in me. They are the ones that speak to the wholeness of my being, not only my intellect.
There it is, right there.
They're the ones that sink into the body. They're not just thoughts in my head. They permeate my being. And that is Christianity. It is our Western inheritance, it's what we have. It is still the ground on which we germinate as people, despite.
Not me. Anyway, I didn't germinate in Christianity.
We've been wondering about his religious leanings, and this is the second video. I watched that one the other night, and he was talking about, I don't remember the exact wordings, but how profound the Bible and Adam and Eve.
But
the revelation of having knowledge is metacognition, and on and on and on and on.
To be charitable here, he's talking about the feeling of being a Christian, the spirituality part of it. So he's not actually talking about the doctrine, because I'm pretty sure he's not a Christian. So,
well, he said he likes the Indian Hindu type stuff too. As far as exactly where he is, he seems to dance around it when he's asked these questions. So he doesn't. I don't think he wants to be pinned down. I don't know if he's like floating in the agnostic or something, but he doesn't seem to like to be pinned down on exactly where he is. But he says a lot of Christian leaning things.
I'm back. Are you guys back?
Yep.
I was disconnected a second or two.
Oh, anyway, okay.
I was just saying he doesn't like to pin himself down. It seems.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think.
He does stay in the agnostic type realm a little bit.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of other. God, I've got so many clips, and I don't know which one I want to show first. But anyway.
Well, he does think that the I don't know if it's actually Hindu text or ancient Indian text, but in that area, because they had, they were enlightened or whatever they
Yeah.
So several times I've heard him use the word enlightened. So I think that has an influence in it too.
Yeah, he's constantly saying, thousands of years ago they had the right answer, and us modern people with our sciencey stuff, we just don't know what the hell's going on.
Right. That's a good summation.
That's always a major red flag to me, because so many people just kind of get weary and fall back on older traditions and philosophies.
Yes, Ember is a moderator now, and so is Trusty Ape. Oh, Jay isn't. Jay is. Jay's a moderator. Everybody's a moderator, right?
But he gets a wrench.
You come to my house, and everybody is in charge.
It's in the Constitution.
It is. Anyway, he sounds like he's saying Christianity is an innate part of us, and I think that's there are some aspects of that may be true, but I think it's pretty much bullshit, because the parts of Christianity that we all share are the parts that humanism shares, and all humans do, basically. So I don't know. Christianity, I mean, I was germinated on Buddhism, so I don't know about him, but anyway.
Yeah, and that's just purely in certain Western areas.
Yeah.
You're still talking about a minority of the global population.
What is it called when you're quote unquote germinated in don't talk about religion, don't mention it, and just nervously quickly change the subject when questions about religion are asked? What's that called?
That would be where I grew up. That it wasn't cool. Yeah, it wasn't cool to talk about religion. So
dinner and politics don't mix.
That was within my family. The kids at school who were whose parents were the solid church goers, and they were at Sunday school, they would just use religion to shame people. So they were just getting good practice. So it was like a germination of being in the freeze dry and being shamed. So that it was a lovely germination.
Yep.
Okay,
so me and Scott both. Scott asked ChatGPT 3.5, and I asked 4.0 for Bernardo Kastrup's argument for idealism. And this is what it came up with. And it came up with, as far as I can tell, now I've read a whole lot of Kastrup, and he has 10 books out there, and oh my God, he's so painful to read. Most of what he says is, I've already defeated physicalism in Scientific American 3 months ago. Go look at that. And then you go there and there's a paywall. And, or I'm going to defeat physicalism in chapter 5. And then you get to chapter 5 and he says he defeated it in chapter 3 or something. But he keeps defeating physicalism. And he talks about it like it's some dirty materialism, physicalism. It's just this dirty stuff that we just can't abide by. But anyway, so here's his argument. Primacy of consciousness. Kastrup argues that consciousness is fundamental, not a byproduct of physical processes. He suggests that the physical world is a manifestation of consciousness, not the other way around. The idea challenges the materialistic view that physical matter gives rise to consciousness. So, now, the other thing that Kastrup makes a big deal of is that, consciousness is given to you. It's just like everybody knows that it's there, and it's just like the one thing you know for sure is that you're conscious, right? And it's just right in front of you, and it's given to you. Well, so's the beating of your heart, basically. I mean, it's given to you. Your heart's beating, your mind's doing a bunch of stuff, you're inputting all kinds of shit from your environment, and you're putting it out. But I mean, there isn't, like, if you took away all of the content of consciousness, there wouldn't be anything left. But these guys don't believe that. They believe that if they completely cut out, okay, they cut out your eyes, your ears, your skin feeling, cut out proprioception, they cut out the feelings you get from your limbic system, which are emotions, and your hypothalamus, which tells you about the health of your blood and the oxygenation. If you cut out all of that, they think there would be something that you would sit there and you'd be like, oh yeah, I got this like basic consciousness. And I deny that. Within about a minute, I think you would pretty much be unconscious without content. That it has to be constant content going on in order for you to in order for you to keep track of things. If you ended up in a world with no content, you would end up very confused very quickly, and you'd start to kind of tumble as if in a dream. And there's some empirical evidence for that in people that have locked-in syndrome. They seem to be extremely calm, and they're running on a very low grade consciousness. They still get the hypothalamus, which tells them about the health of their blood and all that, and they've got a few other connections. They can move their eyelids, and they have some facial responses, but they don't have enough input to be highly conscious. You got to have a lot of content for that. So anyway, so the primacy of consciousness. And the other thing that they like to talk about is everything you know came through consciousness. Like all the science we know came through conscious scientists. And it's like, yeah, you need to start at the beginning, Maya. I'll run it again. Anyway, this idea that empiricism, and it's called naive empiricism, that everything that you know because of this, because it comes into your consciousness. And that's not true at all. That's not how individuals develop. We develop inactively. There's a word called inaction, which is ENACTION. We develop inactively with the world. We move things, we touch the world, we move our limbs, we move our eyelids, we saccade our eyes back and forth. We're constantly interacting with the world. We don't just see this this vision of the world, this matrix type thing, where we're like a brain in a vat, where we're out there interacting with the world constantly, and that's how we develop it. And what we know about science is because not only that, but we can take the salt shaker, which was my prop, right? And we can look at it, we can turn it around, we can pour it, we can look inside of it, we can study the makeup of salt crystals, we can put them under the microscope and see those little squares. We can shoot rays at them and figure out about sodium and chlorine and figure out the atomic bonding and all of that. All of that goes into what we know. It isn't just raw fucking feels that we get every day. I mean, you don't wake up and experience salt and figure out all that you know about salt. It's a long developmental process. I've been doing it for 73 years. You lightweights out there have been doing it for a few less years, but you still have done the same thing. So anyway, what say ya? Oh, Maya. Maya, the shallowness of Qualia is my idea that there is nothing to seeing pink other than all of the things that we've added during our lifetime, so that when a pink color occurs, you might think of, like, I would think of my pink squishy. I have a big pink squishy. It looks like a pig. I think about cotton candy and just all the pink things. And that's where the quality comes from. But there is no qualia of pink. It's very, very shallow. And yet there is a quality of pink that's extremely vivid. So it's a paradox, kind of. Our minds are such a thing that we can lay in all of this discriminative quality. And I was talking about that earlier. Oh yeah, I shouldn't take you seriously. Maya, you're such an ageist. I realized the other day that I want to live until I'm 100, because when I'm 100, you're going to be a boomer, and I want to be around to poke at you. Okay, primacy of consciousness. What do you got? You guys got any comments? Scott's totally gone. Dave, are you with me?
I'm here.
Okay, but you have no.
Where
comment?
did I go?
Oh, I understand the statement there, but when he talks, he seems to contradict things.
Yeah, well,
That's what the hard part is. That are things actually physically there or not, or only because something again, is something telling us things are there, or is it just because we think things are there, in tune with this greater mind that is saying things are there?
Well, he goes off on a tangent where he picks on Sam Harris, and I can't remember. Let's see, is this part? I think this is the part where he picks on Sam Harris. No, not which religion. It's this one with Michael Shermer. Let's listen.
Yeah. And when you see how Sam Harris tried to argue against idealism, you realize that he was not arguing against idealism at all. He built like a series of straw men and burned them down. Now, idealism is a foundational topic in philosophy. It's philosophy 101. You know, I had it in a philosophy course when I was doing computer engineering. You have to know at least what it is. You don't need to agree, but you don't need to understand the subtleties, but you need to know at least what the foundational claims are.
I didn't see this interview. Maybe he was just using the wrong words. But what was the concept he was trying to convey that you disagree with, leaving out the words idealism or whatever?
So the straw man was the following. Idealists say that reality is only in their own minds, and that there is no external world, objective world outside our individual minds. That's not at all what idealism is. Just like materialism, idealists grant that there is a world beyond our individual minds. It's just that the categorical basis of that world is mentation. It's the type of existence of this external world is mentation. In other words, transpersonal mentation that, when observed, looks like what we call the physical world. Now, no idealist denies that there is a objective world we all share. The dispute is solely about what physicality is. Is physicality the essence, or is physicality just the appearance? An idealist would say physicality is the appearance, is what shows up on the dashboard of dials of our sense organs. It's not the world as it is in itself. It's just how it presents itself to observation. Now, some Harris attacked idealism as if all idealists in history were saying that there is no objective outside world. Not even Berkeley, the subjective idealist, perhaps the only one in history, not even him denied that there is something beyond our personal minds. So,
right. Okay, Berkeley. Oh, okay. The idea is that what we see outside of us is only in our mind, right? And if you start thinking about that, like if it's only in my mind, then the only thing I have to go on with you guys is, listening to you, seeing you. You're also in my mind, so it collapses into solipsism. Well, Berkeley, in order to avoid that collapse into solipsism, he determined that it was God thinking, that made the cosmos. And then we are little pieces of that cosmos, and that's Berkeleyan idealism, and also Kastrupian idealism. He believes the same thing, only he doesn't call it God. He calls it the universal mind. So anyway, they both believe, like, Kastrup at the end of the day is just, Berkeley is so shit on in philosophy. I mean, he's been so destroyed for hundreds of years. And Kastrup, I think, should suffer the same consequence. He believes the universal mind projects everything. And he talks about it here in the second item, one universal consciousness. So anyway, what I was trying to avoid, Dave, is the accusation that we're strawmanning him. That. But the thing is, I keep turning this around in my mind. It's like, okay, so the universal mind has mentation, right? And it creates the things that appear to me as salt shakers, okay? So the universal mentation is making the salt shaker out of mentacles. I'm sorry, but that's what I like to call them. And then I look at it, and the universal's mind's thoughts look to me like a salt shaker. So somehow my sense organs, which the universal mind also makes, my sense organs, I just get so confused when I try to work this out. It's just like,
Yeah, because he said he's not denying that things are physically there,
yeah,
but at the same time, it's only because of the mentals.
right, because of the mental, because it's an appearance. It's like,
That's
what?
where I get lost. Is it there or not? Is it a projection, an illusion? Do we only not walk through walls or fall through the chair because we don't want to, or because the mentals have decided so?
What's happening here, Maya? What's happening here? Oh. What? Why don't I have sound? I don't have sound. I don't know why.
What happened to the sound?
Oh, goddamn shorts. They always shut sound off.
What does drip mean?
Like style. Yeah, like if you see me right now, you say, oh, drippy.
If you want to call somebody cool, what would you say? Like,
Probably like mad lit on God or something.
what? Mad lit on God?
Yeah, or like
G-O-D?
yeah, mad lit on God, no cap.
Mad lit on God, no cap.
Nailed it.
Nope.
I fucking love them. Oh, shit. I wasn't showing the screen, unfortunately. Oh, my goodness. Somebody stop me when I fuck up.
I know what you were doing.
Oh, yeah. Nobody. I was trying to do a thing from Maya, basically.
That's what you had have snack for us to stop from doing.
I know. Well, let's try it again. Here.
What are your thoughts on millennials?
I mean, it's pretty fire. I wish I could go back and meet some of my ancestors. The drip wasn't as good.
What does drip mean?
Like style. Yeah, like if you see me right now, you say, oh, drippy.
If you want to call somebody cool, what would you say? Like,
Probably like mad lit on God or something.
what? Mad lit on God?
Yeah, or like
G-O-D?
yeah, mad lit on God, no cap.
Mad lit on God, no cap.
Nailed it.
Nope.
Wow. That was worth it. That was from Maya. Anyway. Yeah, Eric Hernandez is even more painful than Kastrup. Anyway. You guys are kind of quiet. Am I
You're
too
playing a video.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I too noisy? Am I too noisy? Okay.
No, but we were agreeing that it's hard to pin down that he said what he says that in that video compared to what you're getting from the chat thing here.
Yeah.
It seems to go both ways, and every time I try to understand what he's saying, he seems to flip on it and leaves you in that middle of what exactly the connection is.
Right. Like, I want to, well, we'll get to that. The salt shaker. I want to know about the salt shaker. I want Bernardo Kastrup to come and explain my salt shaker to me in terms of his idealist philosophy. That I would like, because it's really painful to try to work it out yourself. I mean, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool physicalist, right? So it's, maybe my mind isn't open enough, it's not wide enough, I'm not smart enough, whatever.
Well, there's always what ifs. There's always the possibility of something unknown out there. Michael Shermer, you just had him on there. He was talking about, let's say that we do figure out that somebody can actually read somebody else's mind, that there's some kind of extension of the energy between the minds, or somehow, then it wouldn't be supernatural anymore. It would just be natural.
Yeah.
It would have an explanation. So
Yeah.
even if there is something out there that we don't exactly know about or even understand, as he likes to say, we can't understand it either.
Yeah.
That doesn't change a lot of reality, though. That would just add to reality.
Yeah.
But he can't
So do we
demonstrate it at the same time.
Do we have
That's
any
it, I'm done.
idea what this meta consciousness really is supposed to do? What's he tasking this meta consciousness to do for us that our consciousness
Metacognition?
doesn't he call it a meta consciousness?
What's the big brain? What's the big brain doing?
Yeah,
that
the
we
big,
can't do
the big
ourselves?
consciousness.
Okay, he calls it. He talks about the universal consciousness, and then he talks about. But metacognition is something that we have, that he says the universal consciousness does not have. So, and the other thing the universal consciousness does not have is the ability to recall memories, to index them. But he still believes that your memories go out into the. I don't know. It's very confused. But okay, the universal consciousness, you don't want to call it the meta consciousness because it would confuse with his metacognition, is what I'm saying. Okay.
Unfortunately,
So,
I missed half
one
of that.
universal consciousness. What?
I said, unfortunately, I missed most of that because of my connection issues. But don't repeat it.
Oh shit!
Don't repeat it.
I just don't want to. Okay, I don't want to confuse his terms. So we'll call it the. Okay. He proposes that all individual consciousnesses are expressions or alters or, disassociated personalities of one universal consciousness. This view sees the universe as an interconnected whole where individual experiences are part of a larger unified field of consciousness. Okay. So that's how he gets around the thing that there is a reality, that there is an objective salt shaker, and we could, all three of us can look at it. Two of us, three of us. Scott keeps going in and out.
And he was talking about other levels of this metacognition in people with what they used to call multiple personalities too.
Was he really? Okay, I even get confused.
That there's
he
individuality among the personalities somehow in the same brain.
Yeah, he makes a case for this dissociative personality disorder, right? But what he doesn't, the weird thing is, like to him, each of us is a disassociated little piece or personality inside the universal consciousness. But then each of us, and what our disassociated personality looks like is our bodies, our physical bodies. And the universal consciousness can see us? I don't fucking know.
Now, does the universal consciousness need us? Are we a part of it? Are we cogs in the machine? Or
he says that
does it exist if we aren't here?
See, he said we add quality to the universal consciousness, but it doesn't really need us. It could exist without us. In other words, it existed before we evolved. So he believes that. So he believes that the universal consciousness, I don't know if he thinks it's always been around or, started with the Big Bang or whatever the fuck, but he believes that, we popped up and evolved. So he does, I think, didn't he say something about evolution at one point? But I think he does go along with evolution. So
yeah,
he goes along with all of science. All of science is underneath his analytical idealism. So, okay. So next, the nature of reality is one of his arguments. Analytical idealism posits that what we perceive as reality is essentially a mental construct.
There it goes again.
Yeah.
Now wait a minute. Is it there, or is it just because we want it to be there?
It's because the universal consciousness wants it to be there. So,
but is it really there? He says yes, it's physically there, but then it's mental.
Yeah, ontologically it's there, but it's made out of mentacles. So it's not made out of. Oh my God. Why? Fucking why?
You need a tentacles meme for mentacles.
Okay. Let's see. Our perceptions and experience are shaped by the mind, implying that the physical world we observe is kind of a shared dream or hallucination within consciousness.
Which
So
would
we're
be
all
a projection.
we're all sharing the same dream of the universal mind.
So then
Universal.
but that wouldn't make it physical. We would be the physical part, but the dream wouldn't be. It would be just like if I made a TV show. It's not real. It's just something you created.
Yeah, it's like the universal mind dreamed all of this, right? Because the universal mind has no senses, right? It doesn't have any sense organs. It doesn't see things. It doesn't hear things. It just everything is it.
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like God had to become incarnate to fully understand
Yeah.
the suffering of man.
Well, that's kind of a Buddhist idea, you know, the Maya, basically the dream. You dream.
Yeah.
You are the universe dreaming that you are an individual, and there's, you know, and I prescribe to a little bit of that in a metaphorical sense. I don't believe that I'm actually as much of a thing as I like to think I am. Like ego dissolution and all that bullshit. But anyway.
That's what he was talking about with the Adam and Eve story. Is the only reason that we suffer is because we know that we suffer. And that was what was the big revelation when they ate the fruit in the garden.
Yeah. Typical mud wrestling for philosophers. Jello wrestling, I like that. Jello philosophizing. Wienerism, philosophies. Maya the dream. Yeah, Maya is the dream. Love your streams, by the way, Maya. Pretty cool. She is magical. Anyway.
I'll never look at caves the same way again, thanks to Maya's stream.
Scientific implications. Now, here's the one that really pisses me off. Kastrup argues that this perspective can reconcile some of the paradoxes in quantum physics by viewing consciousness as fundamental. It becomes easier to understand phenomena like entanglement and wave function collapse, which challenge traditional materialistic views. Okay, all you quantum fuckers out there. No one in quantum physics, nobody that really understands quantum physics, would deny for one single fucking second that objects, macro objects, do not exist in a probabilistic manner. Your salt shaker is not probably there. It is fucking there. So when you have all of these particles, right, and all whatever's happening at that lower level, basically contributes to these macro level things, and these macro level things are how we exist, how we function every day. We don't have to worry about quantum mechanics, and we don't have to worry about it when we talk about the mind in neuroscience. Okay, neuroscience and the mind get by just fine by going down to the atomic level. We don't have to go any fucking further. We don't have to worry about quantum effects. They affect some little, cell membrane transport systems at your synapses. There are quantum effects, but they always kind of hash out the same way, and your brain works, and your salt shaker's really there. Your car's really in the garage. It's going to be there tomorrow when you go look at it, unless somebody stole it. So, I mean, stop with the quantum bullshit. And Kastrup, like, when he talks about physicalism has been disproved by physicists, right? When he got laughed out of the room by that one physicist on the Rage Quit video, basically he's making up this narrative that quantum mechanics has disproved physicalism. And at some point when we talked about matter and materialists, and they came up with electromagnetic fields, there were a bunch of people saying electromagnetic fields disprove materialism. There is no just matter, it's fields and all of that. And so to hell with that stuff. Scientific implications, we can just scratch that one off.
That's what I said earlier, that, okay, let's say there's particle entanglement across long distances, and they figure out why. And again, you could have a natural materialistic understanding of it. You don't have to go to a belief in something else to understand these things. They could still have an explanation. Doesn't mean they haven't. I'm not up on all the exact details of it, but the way I understand it, that's entangled particles are somehow in tune with each other across a distance. But if there's just some new, physical law or something that they figure out to explain why, it's still going to be materialistic. You don't have to have a belief in something else to get an understanding of it.
Yeah.
Of course, it's easier to understand if you just say it's, God or some kind of magical mind, or of course it's easier. That the easier doesn't, that doesn't mean the understanding is correct. He's just saying that it's mentals. Hey, Gur's here.
Yeah.
Well, saying it's mentals is just, well, that's God. It's a gap. It's not explaining exactly what it does or anything. What we've been talking about is all along here is that he's got a hard time explaining exactly how or why it's doing it.
So the Gur exit is over, apparently.
Gur's here and there.
Gur's here and there.
I've seen Gur here and there.
I don't know what happened to Gur. I know what happened to him. His Mrs. Mania told him he couldn't do it anymore. She's like, "You're not going to do that anymore." And he said, "Okay, honey, okay, won't do it no more." Right? They had a word for that.
No comment.
They had a word for that back in the day.
Gur do what Gur do.
I can't say it anymore.
There's Deconverted Man. Hey, speaking of, you wanna plug Deconverted Man?
So Deconverted Man tomorrow night at 7 p.m. in the One True Zone Central Time. Okay, Scott, I'm sorry.
Scott's having bad connections.
Yep. In the One True Zone at 7 p.m. Central Time, we're going to
goofy time zone.
The real time zone, the one true time zone. We're going to do a thing on meaning and atheism, which Deconverted Man has been asked to do, and it should be good. So hopefully it's going to be way past my bedtime, right, or my nap time. Actually, my bedtime's a little later. Okay. So, philosophical and psychological implications. Analytical idealism suggests that understanding the mind and consciousness is key to understanding the universe. Really? This has implications for areas like psychology, spirituality, and philosophy, as it shifts the focus from external exploration to internal understanding. What has that gotten us in the last fucking 5,000 years? Anyway. And then critique of physicalism. Kastrup critically examines the limitations of physicalism, the belief that only physical things are real. He argues that physicalism cannot adequately explain consciousness and proposes analytic idealism as more coherent and comprehensive framework. There it is. The whole bitch they have about physicalism is, oh, we don't understand consciousness. Well, go read some goddamn books, and you might get an idea how it works. It's just like, damn it. Anyway,
In creeps God of the gaps. He's just saying, well, they don't know this, and they don't know this, so they don't know anything.
Yep.
So it must be this thing that I'm just going to make up to say this is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a gap. It's a gap filler.
If we can't explain it, it must be fundamental. It's just like, and we'll play a little Sam Harris thing. Anyway, so these arguments form the basis of Kastrup's analytical idealism, and I'll be damned if I can find any better arguments than this. He gets a little more into details. he's got, the thing about psychedelics, how, less of your brain is operating when you're meditating or being creative or doing psychedelics. But cognitive neuroscience fucking knows that. We knew it a long time ago, that when you are concentrating, you are cutting out vast sections of your brain. Your thalamus, which is not, your thalamus is a switching mechanism that allows you to focus on smaller and smaller areas. So when you concentrate, you're going to have less brain activity. And he actually talks about entropy. Basically, entropy is a new highfalutin theory about consciousness in the mind. And he mentions it, but I don't think he really understands what the hell he's talking about. He mentions it in relation to psychedelics. So,
did he have this big revelation before, during, or after his doing psychedelics phase? Because he seemed to go through a period of time where he was doing psychedelics.
Yeah, he has done psychedelics, and as have I, quite extensively. And I don't see anything surprising about what happens when I take psychedelics. I don't know. Anyway. Okay. What do we got here? We got... Nope, not that one. Does real... Okay. So, listen. Okay, he criticized Sam Harris on Lex Fridman's broadcast. And I think this is where it is, right here. And I linked all 3 of these videos in the description. So, want to listen to what Sam Harris says? He says that Sam Harris is strawmanning idealism. And no.
Yeah, he's interesting.
Is there any inkling of his sense in your mind that reality is very far from actual, objective reality is very far from the kind of reality we imagine, we perceive, and we play with in our human minds?
Well, the first thing to grant is that we're never in direct contact with reality, whatever it is, unless that reality is consciousness, right? So we're only ever experiencing consciousness and its contents.
Right.
And
okay, I yelled at Sam about that. I actually did a little comment down here. Sam, damn it, Sam. Where's it? There is no experiencer of consciousness. There is no homunculi. We are streams of matter, mattering in a brain-like way. We have direct access to the world outside of our epistemus, because we are in resonance. We are a resonance within physicality. We must get rid of this idea of representationalism. But anyway, I forgive him. He's a neuroscientist. You got to forgive him, right? As Kastrup pointed out, they're so confused.
They're just entering data.
Yeah, they're just entering data.
then the question is, how does that circumstance relate to, quote, reality at large? And Donald Hoffman is somebody who's happy to speculate, well, maybe there isn't a reality at large. Maybe it's all just consciousness on some level. And that's interesting. That runs into, to my eye, various philosophical problems that, or at least you have to do a lot. You have to add to that picture. I mean, that picture of idealism. That's usually the whole family of views that would just say that the universe is just mind or just consciousness. At bottom, will go by the name of idealism in Western philosophy. You have to add to that idealistic picture all kinds of epicycles and kind of weird coincidences, and to get the predictability of our experience and the success of materialist science to make sense in that context, right? And so the fact.
Okay, what Sam just said is that you have to add to it, like Berkeley did. He added God. God will keep track of all the mentacles, right, to put them in the right place so that your car's in the garage tomorrow when you open the door. And Bernardo Kastrup gets out of it by positing that there's a universal mind that keeps track of everything. And Bernardo Kastrup missed the part where he actually says yes. If you jump through all those hoops, you can end up with an objective reality, and you don't collapse into solipsism. And I don't think he's strawmanning idealism at all.
The fact that we can, what does it mean to say that there's only consciousness at bottom, right? Nothing outside of consciousness, because no one's ever experienced anything outside of consciousness. There's no scientist has ever done an experiment where they were contemplating data, no matter how far removed from our sense bases, you know, whether it's they're looking at the Hubble
Yeah, fuck you, Sam.
deep field, or they're smashing atoms, or whatever tools they're using, they're still just experiencing consciousness and its various deliverances, and layering their concepts on top of that. So that's always true, and yet that somehow doesn't seem to capture the character of our continually discovering that our materialist assumptions are confirmable, right? So you take the fact that we unleash this fantastic amount of energy from within an atom, right? You know, we have the theoretical suggestion that it's possible, right? We come back to Einstein. There's a lot of
he is bordering on the straw man, basically, because the idealists always use God or the universal mind to rescue them from the fact that we all have this shared objective reality, because no idealist wants to collapse into solipsism. We want to acknowledge that there are multiple minds, but that's where idealists get into this horrible fucking hall of mirrors. That if each of us are individual minds and we're inside of this universal mind, when you think about me looking at the salt shaker and the universal mind imagining the salt shaker or mentating it, and I'm looking at it, and then the universal mind is looking at me looking at it, and then I have this metacognition of looking. It just, the whole thing gets to be, it's like a hall of mirrors. When you try to diagram it, it really gets tricky. And that's why I would like Kastrup to do a diagram of three men looking at one fucking object, one salt shaker, right? And analyzing it and running tests on the sodium crystals and all of that stuff and going through all that, and tell me how that works with the universal mind. What is the universal mind doing when we're all looking at the salt shaker from three different angles and tearing it apart? I just think it's just an endless hall of mirrors. That's what drives me nuts.
With or without it, or with or without a God, or anything, what is the difference to the universe?
Yeah, that's the other thing. At the universal, like, oftentimes when Kastrup, when you let him go for a little while, he ends up describing physical reality with a lowercase r. He just wants to say, oh, it's not made of physical stuff. It's made of some other stuff, some mentated stuff. And it's like all he's doing is exchanging one word for another. And then he makes it all work with physicalism. So fucking why not just physicalism? It's like, the salt shaker that I'm looking at here, I mean, if we were to go further and further, deeper than just the atoms, the sodium and the chlorine, and start looking at the particles and the quantum fields, and then even beyond that, we look into time and space, and what does time and space actually, what is it actually? What is gravity? What is all of that? I mean, you can go down, and it sounds spookier than mental, but you don't have to go that far when you're talking about us and our mind and life. So anyway, I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, well, you suggested he has a contract for 2 more books.
Yeah, well, he spilled it when they were talking in that one interview. He's got one that's about ready, I think he said, and then he's got to do another one because he has some kind of a contract with a publisher.
Yeah.
And Deacon Verdeman put up some links. I can't post anything. Mike's got to do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I'm hunting down links here left and right. I've got Ember's link, which is right here. We're gonna hang it up pretty quick. I think we've done enough fucking damage. We got Maya had another one with J Black TV. I don't know, whatever that is. Hang on a second. Okay, where's
Maya? Maya made the list. Way to go, Maya.
She made the list.
Paula Gia put out a list.
Oh, really? Cool.
A lot of the folks we know made the list.
Yeah.
New channels for the year or something like that. It's called.
Okay. Maya Atkinson on Twitter. So where the hell's Deconverted Man's link? Why can I not find it no more? God can't explain. What are the pronouns? Okay, the neo-pronouns. We got that. Apologies playlist. Oh, there's Deconverted Man. Okay. Oh no. Am I going to click on a Deconverted Man link? Oh. That's pretty. That's pretty.
Asked me.
6'9". Two different perspectives. Yeah. What is a universal mind seeing? Right. What is a universal mind mentating? What is the content of the universal mind's consciousness? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand why. And then Bernardo Kastrup,
like I said, if it exists, what does it change about reality, though? Do we have these psychic abilities all of a sudden where I know what Mike's thinking? No. So
yeah.
I'm not sure what this extra thing actually does.
What they want to get to is this this meaning based thing, right? This has implications for spirituality and philosophy, and shifts the focus to internal understanding. I mean, we can do that anyway with physicalism. We don't need no stinking idealism. Jesus. Anyway.
And we can talk about a lot of things. I talk about Bigfoot a lot on conversation and on my channel, and it doesn't manifest a Bigfoot. So,
yeah, and on Deconverted Man, I've got a clip by Kastrup where he's talking about materialism. There's just no meaning. It's the same thing as Christians saying that atheists can't have morals, that we can't be ethical. And he parallels creationists in all of his rhetoric, right? His public facing rhetoric. He just parallels what creationists say about evolution and all of that. It's almost identical. I would be so embarrassed if I were him.
Yeah, somebody says they talk to God, and it's like, okay, good for you. What does it do?
Yeah. Well,
what does it do for me and everybody else that you talk to God, or that
I talk to,
or that he's got it all figured out and nobody else does? What does that do for him?
Yeah, like I talk to things like, and you could call them gods. I basically say, like if I've done way too many mushrooms, I'll say, "Fucking help me." Fucking make it stop.
The porcelain throne prayer.
Yeah, something like that.
Please make it go away. I'll never do this again.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's just like, I mean, but if fucking God answered me, I'd quit doing mushrooms. I would.
When they say he seems to accept many natural things and laws in physics and everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of the science that explains, let's say, he grants the age of the universe and evolution and all those things that the creationists and everybody like to argue against. He's just adding something that he thinks is there.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I don't see the connection that we have with it, or that it gives to anybody else. Again, that I know what Mike is seeing right now without his camera being. So, we need the physical materialism of the camera that science does understand very well, so I can see what's going on at Mike's. I don't see what good this thing does if it exists, because it's not saving us internet charges or anything, right?
Yeah. The thing is, and we'll get into this tomorrow night on Deconverted Man Stream, I hope. The thing is that there is a large part of the population that just wants to believe in some deep meaning. I mean, I just want my fucking crystals to cure my arthritis and help me win the lottery and make my financial blues go away and make me lose weight or what. I mean, they want something magical. And there's a huge part of the population, I think myself included, I wouldn't mind a little magic now and then, you know? I mean, what
It'd be
the
fun. Yeah, it'd be fun. I mentioned earlier on Al's stream about driving and stuff. I used to drive a lot for work, and anymore I don't like driving because I've been hit like 8 times. So if I could just pop from here to the store or to the restaurant or to the relative's house or wherever I'm going and skip the driving part, that would be great.
Yeah.
I would love a little magic. You know, what did I Dream of Genie, you know, just give a little blink and I'm at the store. That would be great. I would love that. That would be great.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
By the way, I am.
But I don't think this universal mind is going to do that. So again, I'm stuck at, even if I grant him that it exists, same thing, even if I grant a God exists, what does it change? Because I always go back to, if you come to a river and you believe in a God or you believe in this universal mind, the distance across doesn't change. And it doesn't change for Mike or Scott or Gurr or Al or Deconverted Man. It's still the same distance across, no matter how you grew up, what you believe or not. You still have to deal with these things in reality. So what does the universal mind change about reality?
By the way, yeah, it doesn't help. I don't know.
It doesn't seem to explain anything other than just saying, you know, well, it's magic. It's like, okay, so that's magic, but you have to demonstrate it and enter it into the scientific body of knowledge. You just can't say these. Again, we can say it's Bigfoot. Bigfoot did it.
Yeah.
So that doesn't explain anything or answer anything. It's just
and
unsubstantive answer. There's just nothing behind it.
Yeah, the thing about meaning, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow night, and I don't want to take the power away from that, but I have some things to say about meaning. But anyway, here's some meaning. I am 26,662 days old. Look at that.
Woo-hoo!
For 10 days, I get to have 666 in my, and then in 4 days, I get 266. I get 4 sixes. What do you get for 4 sixes? Do you get like Super Satan?
Bonus Satan.
Super Satan bonus, yeah.
Well, see, that's the day to do the psychedelics and get in tune with the Super Satan. Maybe Super Satan has something to say because God hasn't had anything to say to you.
Yeah, I'm going to be 73 years old on Sunday. Ooh.
Unless you got the voicemail I sent you trying to freak you out.
Oh, I haven't listened to it yet. Should I?
Oh. I sent you a voicemail that said, "Hello, Mike.
Okay.
This is God."
Oh, yeah. Time to come home. Yeah, shit. Anyway, okay. What did we do? We did today. How long did I rant? I'm really on this idealist shit now, and you know we got to get back to evolution someday shortly. But philosophy of mind, I have. Something like, I got to share this with you. I've been uploading a lot of them, but I've got 460 books and papers on philosophy of the mind in my directory right now. And as I name them properly, I upload them. So I'll share the link with you. Scott's already got it. That's a lot of shit to go through. Oh my God, I love your. What the hell is that effect? You disappeared.
I know. I'm having.
You
don't have it. You know what I don't like about this restream? It doesn't have an adjustment.
You spooky. You very spooky.
StreamYard, you can adjust this.
Yeah.
And
yeah, here's my salt shaker. my prop. Basically, I want to know about the guy.
Doesn't like my lighting.
I want to know about the salt shaker. I want to know how that works with the universal mind. I want to know about salt crystals. Now I got to go over here. Everything is like reversed salt crystals.
You're getting a sweet spot.
Anyway, I ate it.
Margarita time.
Margarita time, yeah. Anyway, okay. I think we're gonna.
You're gonna have to go back to StreamYard because I don't find any adjustment.
Yeah.
There's like a saturation adjustment or something on StreamYard.
I don't know. I should take a look at StreamYard again and see if they've improved. Coconut on salt.
Nope, more light makes me go away.
Wow. Okay, guys.
There I am. Yeah, but we're going to be over at Deconverted Man's stream tomorrow. So everybody be over there and we'll see you over there.
Yep, 7 p.m. in the One True Zone. Okay. Ready?
I'm going to phase out here.
Yeah, you're
ready. Here we go. I'm going to.
Bye, cool world. Goodbye, Dave.